Yes, so welcome back to Global Citizenship class. We have gone through more than half of the class. Many people have presented almost entire projects that you guys have been developing. And we understand while you are developing your ideas, to be global citizens, you must understand your message, understanding what is good, what is bad, could be bad for you. It will prevent you from becoming really successful. The only way for you to be globally successful is to check other people and what they understand about your message. Next in line back here, can you try to summarize? Yes. Yes. So when you're interacting with people, check that your stereotype, check your understanding of the message, check your understanding of what is happening. It's okay. Make sure they understand. Make sure you're not insulting somebody. So I started the class showing a text message about firefighters. I don't know if you guys saw that video. If we go through, we see that we are in week 10, talking about practice for global citizenship, that idea of communicating through play, what you can actually do. And then we saw that there's videos. Here is the PPT we're using. All of the files you can still see online. You can see everything that we've been talking about. This idea, this is one of the videos that the class has. Let me just make sure that everything is going okay. So this is just one video, and he is a firefighter. Do you like firefighters? Do you think they're big gangsters? Do they kill people? Do they smoke a lot of drugs, or are they nice people? Great. If somebody, a firefighter, made a text or a Facebook post, would you think generally it's nice? Or generally he's a bad guy? Okay, so hopefully you guys noticed when you came in, I played this video. This video was talking about this firefighter posted something in Facebook and he got fired because of it. Can anybody guess? What could you do and post in Facebook and get in trouble? Maybe get kicked out of school or arrested or kicked out of a social media group. Yes, can you guess? Anything is okay to say. What do you think you could post online, just a regular text, but then get in trouble for it? Trying to encourage other people. Yeah, you are really good at speaking. If you want to be better, get other people to try to start speaking more too. Would you like to pass it on to him? Your turn. Praising IS? Praising IS? Okay, that is, IS is. I is bad. What do you mean by IS? Do you know what IS is? Maybe I'm just old, I don't understand. Oh, ISIS. Oh, okay, yes, the terrorist group ISIS. Yes, okay. Saying they're good. Yes, that could be bad. Okay. What were you about to say? Okay. Saying the government's policy is bad. Okay. Hopefully you guys are starting to understand this idea that this guy is a nice guy. He just posted something to another friend. He thought it was a joke. He thought it was funny. He was just taking, maybe this guy had a joke. He took the joke from one guy and gave it to the group instead of just one guy. What are some examples we just heard? The idea of talking about government in a good or bad way, talking about terrorist groups in a good or bad way. What about talking about girls? We're talking about guys. We're talking about drinking. We're talking about, what's the phrase? LGBT, ABC, something? Lesbian, G, gay. What's the rest of that phrase for? Anybody know? Yes, LGB, bisexual. Next. P, T, trans. Okay. I think there's several more alphabet letters after it. It seems to continue to grow. Some people make jokes about that. I didn't really think very much about it, but then about 4 years ago, the best student in my class, I was talking about him like this student sometimes was very good. Called me during class, called me on the weekend, Sunday mornings. It was great. I liked helping the student develop, and the student was very good at sharing details and helping the class develop. And so I would go into class and I'd say, oh guys, you guys should listen to him. He has some really good information to help you all. Go ahead, you can present it to the class, listen to him. And I did that almost every week, almost every class. Now take a break for like 10 seconds. You know, in week 14, you have to give a presentation, right? You can come up here in ripped pants, or you can come up here in any clothes you want, but you should be like a professional global citizen. So I was telling the class, you don't have to, but it's good to wear a suit. It's good to wear formal clothes. So this student, talk about the student again, that I was telling everybody you should copy him. This student came to class wearing a skirt and a blouse, almost a see-through blouse. You can see black bra, and it was a girl that I was introducing to the whole class all semester as a guy. Was it my fault? Am I bad? I don't know, because the student introduced the student to me as James. And the class name to everybody was James all semester. But they wanted to present as a girl. So how do you manage that? That idea of how you interact with some people. I made a big mistake. I thought it was a guy. But the person introduced himself as a guy. Am I supposed to know? Sometimes I can make a joke about how I'm a teacher. I teach communication, and I can't communicate with a student. I didn't know if they were a guy or a girl. So that type of silly thing, I think many people could understand, might be confusing. It might be awkward. If you make jokes about it, some people may laugh, but other people may feel bad. So you have to be careful what you think is right or wrong, what you think is funny or not funny. Sometimes it could make other people uncomfortable. So because I've had those interactions, I'm not going to ask if anybody's gay or lesbian or trans here, because many times I have been surprised in my class. So I'm not going to ask about it, but it's just an example how you can sometimes make other people uncomfortable. How many of you have spent much time in Europe or in Canada? I'm talking about Canada because I'm from Canada. In Canada, it's a country, and if somebody asks, what is Canada culture? What is Canadian culture? I'd say, this is one country of the world, we have their culture. Here is another country of the world, we have their culture. Another country, different country in the world, Canada also has their culture and rules and regulations. We also have this country's rules and regulations. Canada is a country of almost every other country in the world. We have their rules, regulations, and culture inside Canada. So in Canada, it's really, really strict how you interact with other people. Being a regular person in Canada, you have to be careful as a global citizen to be PC. You have to be politically correct. So please make sure you use our time, use the remaining time to post some of your files here and check other people. Try to find some way to fix it. Like, I'm Canadian and I'm a teacher and I don't know how to talk to a student. Do I say the student is a guy? Do I say the student's a girl? The student introduces themselves as James, which I think 95% James is just the guy's name, but there is Jamie, which is also a girl's name, guy's name and girl's name. My name, Sean, is a guy's name. For me, I'm a guy. But my mom and dad got the name Sean from a girl, a waitress, that introduced them when they're skiing. So Sean is a guy's name and a girl's name. If I'm a teacher and I make these problems, everybody can make these problems. So you need to start checking what other people understand about it. How many of you have gone through and posted anything online or got feedback about what you have done, you thought is okay, and got somebody else to tell you an idea to make it better? Or how many of you have actually seen things like this and gone through and made changes from what you were normally going to do? Have any of you posted your information? Have any of you shared your information? Do you remember what the class told you you could do to make it better? Anybody want to come up with examples? I'm going to start giving away points. That whole idea back here, I'm going to be able to give lots of participation points away between now and the rest of the semester. And you can upgrade your marks by helping other people when they present online. Let's start now. Where is an example? Who has an example of something you have done that you can tell the class, I was doing this, and then I got a new idea to try something different. For example, this. I came to class wearing regular clothes, but then I found out, yes, to be a global citizen in North America and in Europe, Halloween is big. We should do something related to that. All you need to do is wear a costume. I don't think you have a costume. Maybe you have a costume to be scary looking under their mask, nose. Or the idea of just post some Halloween picture in the chat or in Facebook. You can get points for that too. So, any questions about that concept? We're going to be going back. We're talking again about the concept about practicing your communication. How can you go through and say something, say anything, but practice knowing that whatever you say could be bad. Whatever you say, it's not important unless you check other people understand. And what do they agree with your ideas? Anybody want to start trying to get participation points for this? Going once? Yes, go ahead. You can start trying to share some of your information or share the fact that you came to class in regular clothes, share a photo, an image of Halloween in Facebook or chats, get a point for that. Just talk about the idea that you need to practice communicating. So you can try to teach this, or, and all of the information is here. All of you have this in advance. Did you want to try sharing any of those things? No, you are volunteering, but just for anything before we know the details, okay? In the textbook, in our textbook, page 60, it's talking about understanding nonverbal communication and paralanguage. We talked about this, I believe it was week 6. Anybody remember what is paralanguage? What did we talk about in week 6? Nope. What was non-verbal, non-spoken language? What are different types of non-verbal, non-spoken language? How can you communicate without words? You can use your emotions, okay? Can anybody give an example of how your emotions helps you communicate? That's an example of emotions communicating. Can you give another example of emotions communicating? Did you understand my example? Was I really crying? Or is this an example? Yes, you have to learn. Sometimes your normal style of communicating involves other things. Any other examples you have? You had, but you don't want to talk about it. Oh, okay. Do you want to talk about it if I go outside the room? No. The idea of eye contact, smell, color, touch, body language, objects, signs, symbols, they all play a role in communicating. That whole idea of silence is a big part of communications. Any of you have family working in Samsung? I used to work with Samsung from 1995 up until 1999. And when I first started working for Samsung, many people in international sales groups for Samsung and in Daewoo, they would come to the office in the morning really drunk. And then they get to the office and they fall asleep on their bed like that. And the group thought what? Anybody of you guys know what Samsung office culture is like? Or Daewoo's office culture, what was it like? If this guy was drunk when he shows up at work, what time does school start in the morning? 8 o'clock. And if this guy came to work at 10 o'clock, drunk, and sat down and went to sleep, passed out, what would you think? It's not good? Okay. Can anybody think, why is that good? Because when I was working with Samsung and when I was working, especially in Daewoo, they would give this guy a prize. They would usually, almost many people would buy him some sort of drink, like condition or orange juice, or give him a promotion before the rest of it. Even though this guy came to work many, many times drunk and fell asleep at their office. The company gave him rewards. Why? Is she normal? What do you think? Is she normal for thinking this is not good? Can you guess why would the company reward this? What is the practice? He's doing it right now. Nobody else is making comments. Okay. How about you? Second from the back. Yes. What do you think? If somebody comes to work 2 hours late and then they're drunk, they smell like alcohol, soju, and then they fall asleep at work, What do you think? Good? Is it bad? Bad? Okay. Then why did Daewoo give this person promotions before you? Why did the company give this person rewards, more bonus than you? Anybody? Thinking outside what's normal for you, it's hard. Try it, please. I'll give you bonuses if you start interacting more. Start trying to guess. Even if you're wrong, you could get bonuses. Nobody? Yes?
She would also know that she was qualified for the promotion. But the promotion was already considered, so part of that's why.
So this person worked super hard last year. And then the company decided last year, maybe December, we're going to give them a promotion. But then it started January and she didn't get the promotion. So she came to work drunk and she fell asleep at her desk. But then later, after a few days or weeks, they had a company meeting and gave her a promotion. Okay, that's a good guess. Very good guess. But wrong. Thank you for guessing. Wrong. Anybody else? Tom, can you try to give Yi Chang-hyun, right? Try to give him. Did you understand what he was saying?
Yes, so you would like me to give Yi Chang-hyun point for the participation, right?
Yes, I was going to say give him maybe 2 points or 1 point, but we just checked and the class, so I guess we can only give him 0.5. But we will give him a reward for trying. Anybody else that tries, you might also get participation points for trying. You'll get more points if you check other people understand. The simple answer was that most companies sell something. Whatever you make and you try to sell to somebody, usually you have a sales team. And the sales team will go to the customer, and sometimes they go to a restaurant or a bar, Doribong, Talanjujang room salon, I don't know, and they start drinking with the customer to try to sell many of these. And when you are with the customer, Daewoo and Samsung was thinking, if you drink a lot, if you drink all night and get really drunk and keep drinking with the customer, you have very good ability for sales. You're good at making the customer happy. So when you come to work and you're still drunk, that means you were drinking with the customer all night, which is good. So we give you a promotion, even though you come to work late, you come to work ugly, you come to work, you smell, you come to work drunk. So you need to understand, even here in Korea, where everybody knows Samsung, sometimes you don't understand why they work that way. You need to check your understanding. When you go to another country, it's very easy to misunderstand. So yes, Dong, did you want to talk about the participation points? You want to show your screen with those details?
Yes, Professor, could you help me to show the Excel?
Okay. So inside here in the Excel file, we have these marks. Go ahead. Did you want to comment about these, Tom?
Yes. So for this Excel, so we have the mark updated to week 9. So if you also can see that if you participated in the class as Lee Chang-hyun, right? So you can get even more than 0.5 points. You can get 2 points for the participation. And you can see that we have some students. I don't know how to pronounce correctly, but Hee Kyung, the student number 9 and number 10, Tae Kyung, and also for the student number 14 is Joseph Lee Chang-byun or Lee Chang-hun. And now student number 18 and 19, 18 is Seung-jin, and 19 is Woo-won.
You don't need to talk about the names too much now. The idea is that when you do things, you are usually thinking just of yourself. You're presenting what you think, but you're not checking what other people think. So make sure you present number one. You have to try communicating with the globe, communicating with the class, communicating with the world in Zoom or in Facebook. And the more you do it, the more you get points, just like what we said here. So you tried, I don't know, 3 times, 4 times today, and I understood you, but your classmates didn't understand you. I was going to give you 2 points. But if other people don't understand and you didn't check, we just go down to 0.5. So anybody else want to try to present some of these details, present some of your own details? Even if you make a mistake, you can get points. This idea that, let me zoom in on some of these details. This type of thing. When a teacher asks a question and nobody answers, the class, and then the teacher sitting there like, that's me, that's real life. You need to try talking more. I believe you remember when I started class, I was telling you, I prefer that you talk and I just guide you. I prefer when I don't talk. That means you should talk the most. The more you talk, the more I can see how you do it. So let's start just in groups. We have 8 people online and several people in a group. Let's just change and get each desk. So you'll be partnered with you, you'll be partnered with you, you'll be partnered with you, you over here, you'll be partnered with you, you can be partnered with him, you can be partnered with her, and you two are partnered together. Now just take the next 3 minutes and talk about how you could participate more, especially the best message. I want you guys to think, how could you do it for the rest of class? But the most marks will come from any group that finds, like, this is normal, but we're going to do it this way in order to get better results. That's confusing, but try to do that for the next 10 minutes. Any questions? I want you guys to talk in partners about how you can start communicating more, considering your personality, considering your environment, considering your clothes, considering your smell, considering objects, considering not just your language, but your communication in non-verbal format too. Is that a question? What's your question? Sure, you have a presentation for class. And you just gave 4 presentations today, which is good for normal students. But it's bad globally because you didn't check other people understand, except me, except one person. You are doing well if you keep doing that, but then get 2 or 3 people to summarize. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand my main point? Getting other people and checking they understand is much, much better. Just doing that. That's where you present normally, but then you get somebody else to present what you're saying is best. Understand? It's confusing. So let's go ahead. Let's start. You have 3 minutes to talk in partners about any example of what you could present, and then tell the class, what is your example? Okay? I'm starting the timer now. So we have Yudam Jung and Yi Jae-jin. We have a few students here. I'm going to be putting you guys into groups also. Just a second.
No, you don't need to make it very colorful.
Oops, this is just. Go ahead. You can focus on your group. I'll try to.
No, I think most of the students in the system are also in class. So,
Oh, okay, you guys are already here.
yeah, so I guess we take it and I think only the ticket is all. Only the
So Wu Wong, you're here. Where is Wu Wong? Oh, okay. And Jung Sungjin, you're here. So it's Moon Taek Yoon is one of the only ones. Okay. Then Dong, can you start talking to Moon Taek Yoon? I guess he just left. You can try communicating with them while I talk to the class.
Yes. Mhm.
It would be very good. Yes, most people, especially in Korea, they're very quiet. And one person manager business makes a complaint represents at least 20 people in the real world. So if you have one idea, probably 20 people might feel the way. So that's a good idea. Should we keep it quiet, confidential, so I don't get embarrassed? That's a good example. Very good. We have a few seconds left. Anything I can help you guys with? Okay. You had this discussion? Yes. I can help you with. You guys understand? You okay? Okay. Are you shaking hands because you would be a great example? Maybe share with the group? Yes? All right, I'm gonna pick you guys. So our time is up. So Tom, maybe you didn't hear the class. These other students in the group are here in class. They're in class and online at the same time. So you don't need to worry about their activities. So to start with, we have two people that were kind of generous to talk about what were your examples. Can you share your examples together? I can't hear you. Do you need the microphone to speak? Is that better for you? Okay. Whatever way is best. Speaking so that the world can understand is best. Just start talking.
We try to make an example how to communicate with other people. And lastly, we present about our survey results, and we got some feedback. Like in Korea, when we receive a feedback, some people feel bad or they think that the other person is very rude. But as a global citizen students, I think we should try to accept and like try
So what you're saying is, in Korea, normally you present, and if somebody gives you suggestions to change, you shouldn't go and say, oh yeah, judging that. You shouldn't get angry. You should say, 고마워요, 감사합니다, 사랑해요, something like that.
Not really, we should always respect that feedback, but sometimes if we really need that feedback, we should know how to accept it. That's like what I mean.
Okay. Would you like to comment? Exactly. Pardon? Most people don't listen. So how about you? You are the partner, right? Can you clarify? What I'm doing right now, one person gave a message. The audience said, sorry, it wasn't clear. So I'm checking if one person understood, that's one. And now I'm checking the second person can give the message. That'll be number 3, number 2 or 3. I'm 1, 2, 3. So can you summarize what we just said?
If someone gives them a feedback or idea, but it's very common, it is sensitive sort of group, but very feedback and they young students is
Great. Your turn to summarize. What did they both try to say?
She was talking about how they could communicate.
Yes, correct.
I don't know
Good.
the
Good
correct-
job.
Correct word for this. Basically, essentially talking about how to communicate well.
Is that what you were trying to say? Did you want to evaluate his comment or you didn't hear his comment? Okay. Would you like to try to clarify your message? This is reality. I think most of you are Korean. Most of you are about the same age. Most of you are about the same culture. It should be easiest for you to understand your group. But yet it's still taking 4 people to understand one message, or 5 people. So thanks. I'm not going to torture you guys anymore. Thank you very much. If you want to share your names to the invisible angel, maybe she can give you a couple of bonus points. Did you understand exactly what she said, what they said? Zero or full 2 marks or 1 mark or 0.5. You understood a little bit. How many points did you understand for giving him a bonus point? Yes. 2 points is maximum. You give them 2 points. That means you can summarize what they said. You understood? Yes. Okay, great. So if she can say what you guys were saying, you guys get 2 points. Good. Go ahead.
They accept their others' feedbacks and are trying to get better, then they have to hide their emotions,
Don't get pissed off. Like, I'm judging. Wait, hey, don't like hide that.
Yes, and they also have to be a focus.
I like her example even better than yours. Okay, good. I didn't hear you talk about emotions, but maybe it's just because I'm her assistant, it's making it more.
Emotion means they're feeling rude or bad.
But you shouldn't think they're rude or bad. Okay, good,
So they have to hide and accept their feedbacks.
great. Did you hear that, Tom? Do you understand what I'm doing now? Talking to the invisible.
Yes. Thank you so much for sending me the ID, and also
Did you guys?
you help
Good.
us to summarize what the previous commenters shared. I couldn't hear clearly, but I could catch up some information you summarized about how to help the other person understand what somebody once shares the information.
And I understand the details were already sent to you to a text message.
Yes, she texted me her name. So thank you so much for doing that, so I can record the score.
Now I understand you guys said something about making complaints. What is a good thing about complaints? What were you guys talking about?
Just do something to professor or teachers. It looks like no thing, but that could help some develop the lecture or class.
And now to continue this lesson, I want you, because you are lecturing, pick one of your students to test how much they understood, or see if they can give you suggestions for teaching even better. Your message. Who do you want to check the understanding?
It would be to ask my
Sure, that's cheating, but yeah, sure. That was smart. Pick your teammate.
Her opinion was that it might seem rude in Korea to give like suggestion to the professor or teacher, but actually it might help the class to develop. So it's not like actually rude, but so you should try to give some opinions to.
Great. Do you think if they give a complaint to me, do you think I'm going to cry? Do you think I'm going to jump up and down and start kicking things? Or do you think I will say, thank you? If they give a complaint, what will I do? You guys have a group together. What do you think I will do if a student gives me a complaint? Maybe I can say, good idea. Or, I know your name, F on the class. I won't do that, trust. Do you agree it's good to give complaints to a teacher sometimes? Okay, your message is simple, shaking your head, okay. Would you like to give an example, or you want to keep it quiet? Do you have any complaints? I would reward some complaints. I would reward suggestions to improve, because who is the boss here? Who's the boss here? You're the boss? All right, nice to meet you, boss. Oh, it's coronavirus. We're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to do this thing, right? So you're the boss?
Yeah.
Tell me that.
Oh, by the way, just I have a little one complaint.
Okay.
Do you guys want the complaint fee?
Nope. Could be millions of things.
Yeah, so I don't know what was your intention, but I felt a little bit bad when you kicked my shoes.
Okay. I knew some people love their shoes, so I only kicked the bottom. I didn't kick the side. I didn't make it dirt.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
But it still made you feel uncomfortable. Okay. Right. You're not supposed to touch people. Sometimes I can touch people on the shoulder and it's okay. Other times you're definitely not supposed to. Any of you know what country normally forbids touching on the head? Sometimes if this is a baby, you can say, oh, cute baby on the head. I think it's sometimes popular in Korea, but in other countries, it's very, very bad. Anybody know which country is bad to touch another person's head? Oh, anybody know Professor Ban? Thailand. That there's several cultures like that. So yes, be aware of those details. I'm sorry for interacting. I won't kick you again. I'll kick him. Is that better? The idea of the joke, I was saying that you guys are the boss because in Korea, usually the teacher is the top of the hierarchy. The teacher says you have to do this, 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 and you listen. Most students have no objection. Most students don't argue with the teacher. Most students don't give a complaint. Sometimes they don't ask questions. But internationally, the reality is you pay my salary. Your tuition pays my salary. I work for you. We should be doing everything to keep you guys happy. So can you guys pick the next group to explain their message when they had the 3 minutes to talk? Ask the next group to explain their example. Today, before I get too old, pick some group to share their example now. Both of you point to a group and say, talk, share your example. Yes, you're next. I think they went first. You guys went second, didn't they? Next, a new group. Do you not understand me? Pick some student and tell them, okay, they have shared their example, you have shared an example, now pick the next group to share example number 3. Great. We're waiting for you guys to talk.
We talked about the new presentation. Last time the new presentation, we got with that we don't have lots of image and content, so we can't get photo.
You didn't get maximum points, you didn't get full points because it wasn't perfect. So you got ideas to make an even better presentation.
So we get that opinion and feedback, then we thought when we have to presentation, we have to create, have to put it lots of image and
Good. Usually non-verbal communication internationally is super, super important. The idea of your clothes, the idea of your image, the idea of your face, the idea of your emotion, objects, many of those things are very important when you're communicating. What's most important is whatever you say, you must check what the other people understand. Practice that. How about your group? Yes. Yes. Right. So the whole idea of, let me try to show this. You guys all have this PPT. What is meant by nonverbal communication? No matter what you do, you use words, you use verbal communication to say something. The understanding of that message is most important. Many researchers show that most of your message is lost with the words. Most of your information is coming from nonverbal communication, such as gestures, facial expressions. Now with coronavirus, it's extra hard to read facial expressions. Eye contact, smell. Anybody know of, do I smell? Do I smell today? No. Are you sure I don't have cologne? I'm trying to look great for you guys. Do anybody know where it's okay to have smell? Is it okay to have smell? Do you smell today? I'm smiling, by the way. I'm trying to show that he doesn't have a smell. I'm just checking he can interact with this. Do you guys understand? Smell, sometimes it's okay. Do you agree? Most people in Korea think another person's smell usually is bad, unless it's very expensive perfume or cologne. And then if you have too much, it's also bad. But some parts of the world, it's okay. Anybody know where it's popular or accepted to have smell? No? Middle East. Many places in the Middle East, it's usually considered okay. And another one, France. A lot of people in France think smell is okay. Usually they're not talking about the body smell, they're talking about perfume, but the same thing. In France, shower water is kind of rare. It's a specialty. So they're showering less than people in Korea or less than people in Canada. And so one thing they're doing is using smells, perfumes to manage that. So this idea of presenting your information and checking other people understand is what we are focused on. We have 14 weeks together. And with the class, sometimes you are learning that if you are not first, if you don't register a time to present, you will run out of time. If you don't present in class, you will lose marks. You will not get perfect marks. You know you have to present your project at least before the end of week 14. What is the message for you? Start now. Start presenting next class. Because if everybody tries to present in week 14, you will not have time. Start now, even if you're not finished, and then the next week you can present again and get more marks. Can you summarize for the class? And then we're finished.
For the semester ends, we should present our projects and those, and everyone was part to present their projects. And in 14, we don't have time, so start now.
Great. Any questions for this?
Nope.
Any comments or complaints? I'd be happy to help you guys. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.